Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another video of Leading Daily. My name is Quincy Jackson. I'm a leadership coach here, and I'm excited to have you with me once again on today as we're going to go through a reading of a book that I'm reading right now by Zig Ziglar called See You at the Top. My goal every single day is to read so that I can develop myself and hopefully develop enough and impact others along the way in my journey throughout life and obviously through making these YouTube videos as well. So this is just a quick introduction. I'm not going to take very long, but this is just a reading of this book so that you can actually gain some clarity. Hopefully you gain some motivation and whatever it is that Mr. Zig Ziglar has in this book for us to learn from. So if you're ready, just sit back, relax, and read along with me. So today we're going to read in chapter 3 of See You at the Top. Manifestations of a poor self-image. Those with poor self-images quickly reveal themselves by their critical and jealous nature. They resent the success and even the number of friends others have. They are jealous without cause of wives, husbands, boyfriends, or girlfriends. If a husband or wife comes in at all hours of the night smelling like a member of the opposite sex, I'd say there is cause for jealousy. Since they don't like themselves, they can't possibly believe that a member of the opposite sex could love them above all others. Ironically, they often defend their jealousy by exclaiming to all who will listen, that they love their mate too much. In reality, they can neither love nor trust their mate because they neither love nor trust themselves. They gossip and often keep rumors alive with ugly and often untrue comments. They haven't learned that when they're throwing dirt, they're not doing a thing but losing ground. That's actually I have my highlighter right here, so that's actually a highlightable moment right there. I'm going to go back through that. He says, they haven't learned that when they're throwing dirt, the only thing, they're not doing a thing but losing ground. Their insecurity is also evident by their resentment when someone else receives praises or recognition. Perhaps the most noticeable manifestation of a poor self-image is the way a person reacts to criticism and the way he reacts to laughter. They can't stand it if they suspect that someone else is laughing at them. They can't laugh at themselves and strongly feel that either laughter or criticism from others is a put down, an effort to make them look bad. Their reactions are completely out of proportion to the act or actions. A person with a poor self-image is generally uncomfortable when alone or inactive. He's got to be going somewhere and doing something all the time. When alone, he or she keeps the radio and or TV going even if they are not watching or listening. Some will even carry their transistor radios with them as they walk, drive, or fly around the country. A poor self-image also reveals itself in a breakdown of motivation. Many times, when a person quits competing and puts forth the I don't care attitude, it is because they can't see themselves as winning, the outstanding boy or girl, because they aren't attractive or deserving enough. Then they completely let go and overdo their protests in every conceivable way. They are frequently loud, critical, vindictive, and overbearing. Such people often dress unattractively, forego personal hygiene, frequently become obese, abandon morality, and flaunt immorality, turn to drugs or alcohol, and become vulgar and profane in speech. Ironically, they often adopt a superior attitude and try to make others who don't share their views feel inferior. It's distressing to see sloppy, dirty, profane, and unkept individuals because the outward appearance is a dead giveaway to the self image. And of course, no one has yet established any advantage to being dirty or unkept. Interestingly enough, the exact opposite is frequently a manifestation of a poor self image. These individuals place too much emphasis on the material things: flashy cars, money, the current fad, way out clothes, hairdos, or makeup. They also feel they could never be accepted as they are. In their insecurity, they go to extremes to gain friends and acceptance. They often join gangs with an everything goes approach to life because they so desperately crave acceptance, just as I am. Tragically, they generally end up with pseudo friends and many of the habits and characteristics of these friends. As individuals, we will consistently act according to the way we see ourselves. This is why you often see people do some incredibly ridiculous things and take unnecessary risks when they are on the brink of achieving a lifelong dream. For example, a high percentage of athletes who have spent years preparing for the Olympics have had accidents in training or in a preliminary event before the competition starts. They could not see themselves as deserving a gold medal and subconsciously took the necessary steps to make certain they denied themselves the reward the word might confer upon them. Many fighters, football players, and other athletes injured themselves just before the big event. A student trying to gain entrance to the school of his choice gets drunk or has an all night date the night before the entrance exam. A worker seeking a promotion has a violent argument with his wife or a coworker which upsets him emotionally and he blows his chances for promotion. He might even accidentally cross or antagonize the very person who must recommend him before he can be promoted. A man on probation will often commit some senseless deed and end up back in prison. This, in his mind, proves that society is no good and is out to get him. Of course, what it does prove is he could not see himself as a member of a free society. His self image was such that he knew he didn't deserve freedom. Since society wasn't going to adequately punish him for his misdeeds, he must punish himself to make certain he gets whatever he deserves. The husband or wife with the poor self image seldom challenges his mate on anything. Instead, he or she just goes along, becomes a doormat for the other, and builds up a resentment which inevitably leads to serious marital as well as physical and emotional problems. The examples are endless, but I'll leave it by saying that a major cause of much senseless and erratic action is simply a manifestation of a poor self image. These persons who read this book agree with some of it, disagree with much of it, and proceed to do little or nothing about any of it. That's a highlightable right there. Let's keep going. They have made excuses in the past and will continue to make them in the future, and they are all justified in their own mind. They seldom finish anything: a book, painting the fence, decorating the house, a growth course, or school. They say things like, I'd go back to college and get my degree, but it would take 6 years, and by then I'd be 38. I wonder how old will be in 6 years if he doesn't go back and get his degree. Others have said, I go to church, but there are so many hypocrites there. They don't seem to realize that if a hypocrite is standing between them and God, the hypocrite is closer to God than they are. Mm. Unfortunately, this does not apply. Fortunately, this does not apply to you. At one time, it might have been, but not anymore. When you acquired your copy of this book, or as you're watching me read this book to you, you took a big step toward changing your image. The fact you've come this far indicates you are serious about progress for yourself. In your mind, you know that the pages in front of you and the years ahead of you are going to be even more exciting, rewarding, and revealing. Good image equals good salesman or good manager. Bad image equals bad salesman or bad manager. In the sales world, a poor self image is manifested in many ways, but three of them stick out like a sore thumb. Number one, the salesman won't work nearly as hard. Here's why. He makes a sales call and is rudely invited to take his sales efforts everywhere. The salesman with a poor self image doesn't like himself, and the prospect, in the salesman's mind, doesn't like him either. Now the salesman indulges in self pity and goes through the poor little me, nobody loves me routine and heads for the coffee shop, home or office to regroup or lick his wounds. Some take an hour off and others call it quits for the day. In cases where supervision is lax, the salesman might well fabricate a dozen things to do and procrastinate several days before he goes back to work. The salesman with the healthy self image, listen closely, who likes himself, reacts altogether differently. When he is rebuffed, he completely understands that the prospect has a problem, so he immediately and confidently talks to another prospect who doesn't have a problem. Number two, the salesman with the poor self image is reluctant to try to close the sale. He talks on and on with never a suggestion that the prospect should take action and buy something. You see, there is a certain risk in asking someone to buy. If the prospect says no, then the salesman's ego suffers, so the salesman protects his ego by not attempting to close the sale. He just talks and hopes the prospect will finally say, "I'll take it," without the salesman having to risk an ego injury by asking for the order. I've personally seen prospects challenge the salesman with a, "You're not trying to sell me something, are you?" And the salesman protests with an enthusiastic, "Oh, no, no." If he reacts this way, as if he's not trying to sell something, then he's just a professional visitor. The salesman with a good self image makes a sincere effort to close the sale because he knows the worst that can possibly happen is a refusal. He also knows that a refusal is seldom, if ever, fatal, and he might just make the sale. As a matter of fact, he fully expects the sale to be made. Why? He believes he deserves the sale, as well as the success. Besides, he believes in his product. With a healthy self-image, he would not belittle and degrade himself by selling an inferior product. He feels strongly that he is rendering service, so he closes the sale with confidence and conviction. He knows the Norwegian word for sell is selge, which literally means to serve, and that's spelled Selje. Number three, the salesman or office worker with a poor self-image doesn't move successfully into management. Listen carefully. Again, he fears rejection by others. In this case, it would be the people over him, under him, and around him. He generally steps out of character and dons one of four masks as the situation demands. First, he becomes good old Joe and assures everyone under him that nothing has changed and he wants more than ever to be one of the gang. Second, he might fear rejection by his former peers, so he makes concessions and exceptions that go beyond the principles of good management. Or he might take just the opposite approach, an arrogant, I have arrived approach, which causes resentment among his former peers. Third, he may be unduly concerned about his relationship to the management team. In his anxiety to please and be accepted, he becomes too servile, eats too much humble pie, and seeks too much advice. The paralysis of fear and failure causes him to hesitate too long before taking action. Fourth, he may assume a know it all attitude, seek advice from no one, and set out to show everyone how to run a ship. The person with a healthy self image moves into management very well. He exhibits a cautious confidence that shows he is qualified and will do the job. He is short on promises, but long on fulfillment. He understands the difference between serving and being servile. He neither seeks nor avoids confrontations and meets decision making head on. He understands that he was promoted because management has confidence in his ability to either handle the job or to grow to the job. He knows where to draw the line between confidence and arrogance. More importantly, he can be firm on principle but flexible on method. He understands that ideas don't care who have them and is secure enough within himself to recognize and give full credit to the ideas of associates and subordinates. He draws the line between being friendly and being familiar. He doesn't get all shook up when he makes a wrong decision because he knows in most cases the worst decision is no decision. So, right or wrong, he makes decisions. Then his self image is such that he can act decisively and yet not feel threatened when he is either mistaken, challenged, or has to ask for help on specific matters. Good image equals better parent, more honest person. In the business community, a poor self image is manifested by spur of the moment, impossible promises. The new coach, hoping to gain instant acceptance, promises more than is expected and more than he can deliver. The manufacturer or his agent, in order to please the customer because he can't stand even temporary rejection, will forego reality and make impossible commitments. In the sales world, we find insecure salesmen with poor self images are the ones most guilty of overselling, overpromising, and under-delivering. They can't take rejection and feel these steps are necessary if they are to make the sale. Once the sale is made, however, the salesman develops guilt, feelings, and avoids the customer. With no service, the customer grows unhappy with the product and the salesman. The customer tells the salesman off, which compounds the self-image problem. The office worker with the self-image problem won't assert himself and seek a raise even when he knows the caliber of his work warrants more pay. The tragedy here is that the same worker, if he doesn't get a raise and recognize he deserves, will often become resentful and bitter and feel that no one understands or appreciates him or what he does. The net result is a negative effect on his performance and a reduction in the possibility of a future raise. In the family, a poor self-image is manifested by parental reluctance to discipline the child. The parent hides under the mask of, it hurts me more than him because I love him so much. Actually, the parent is often fearful of turning the child away and causing the child to withdraw or withhold its love. The unfortunate truth is, this creates a problem for parent and child. The parent loses control, respect, and some love. The child loses confidence in the parent and the security that goes with it. This is the first step in the loss of respect for authority, which leads to rebellion against authority. This rebellion is another manifestation of a poor self image and has been instrumental in youngsters aged 18 and under being responsible for committing 45% of the serious crime in the U.S. in 1974. The tragedy is that much of this could be averted if parents and teachers knew enough, and in some cases cared enough, about how to recognize those manifestations, which so clearly say, "Notice me, love me, I want you to care what I do." The student who habitually comes to class late, makes a grand entrance, forgets his books, talks loudly or to other students and inopportune times, asks silly or unrelated questions, etc., is acting in perhaps the only way he feels he can act in order to get the attention he wants and desperately needs to prevent even more drastic and erratic action that could put him behind bars. Coward Casper, immorality, or a poor self image. Now let's translate these same manifestations of a poor self image into other professions and areas of life. The student with the poor self image would not confront the teacher over a poor grade, even when he knows he deserves a better one. The manifestation with the greatest long-range impact occurs in the preteen or early teen years when Johnny or Mary, who have not accepted themselves, first discover that boys and girls are different. The problem arises in the first relationship with a member of the opposite sex and is especially serious if either both parties feel rejection from their own families. It is further compounded if either or both of the youngsters is either physically unattractive or a little short intellectually. Society does put quite a premium on beauty and brains. To move from a real or imagined no acceptance to an almost total acceptance from a member of the opposite sex at this critical time creates a highly volatile situation. The youngsters so desperately crave acceptance that they will do anything to keep from losing this one who accepts them just for me. Combine this situation with a permissive society which permits and even encourages an honest relationship of any kind so long as it is meaningful. And you have a situation which lends itself to going steady at an early age. This togetherness, often in front of a television program or movie screen featuring moral laxity, has all the ingredients necessary for premarital sex, promiscuity, venereal disease, illegitimate births, and or early marriage to a partner with nothing in common except a biological urge. If the youngster with the poor self-image doesn't find a steady and everyone else has someone, then he or she will often dress in a revealing and provocative manner to catch someone or anyone. Fishermen call this trolling. The problem with this technique is you generally catch everything from gars and turtles to snakes and stumps. And generally speaking, the catch is harder to throw back than it is to reel in. Take a quick moment to highlight because that was a lot right there. So if you're liking the video so far, go ahead, please subscribe. So I just like the video and share the video, and let me know in the comments that you enjoy it. All right. Even when you catch something with this bait, the chances are good that you will lose your catch to another troller who has more to show you or who will show more. Any relationship primarily built on physical attractiveness is predestined to be short lived. Wow. Do you agree with that? It says any relationship primarily built on physical attractiveness is predestined to be short lived. The youngster with a healthy self image simply would not get caught in the trap of an early and or unhealthy relationship with members of the opposite sex. He or she is smart enough and has enough self-esteem not to be used or fall for the oldest lines and lies of them all. Prove you love me, and everyone else is doing it. This youngster understands the difference between happiness and pleasure and refuses to sell out a lifetime of happiness and virtue for a moment of dubious pleasure and obvious immorality. There is evidence that good old Joe and his distaff counterpart actually have a problem, which is a common one and is no respecter of age, sex, education, size, or skin color. He has the I must be a nice guy and never offend anyone kind of self image syndrome. As a youngster, he smokes cigarettes he doesn't want, takes the drink he doesn't like, laughs at dirty jokes that actually offend him, joins the gang he secretly dislikes, and goes along with conduct and participates in a dress code he secretly abhors. All because he has never accepted himself and is terribly concerned that if he asserts himself and crosses his peer group, he will not have any friends. As an adult, he has a tendency to tell people only what he thinks they want to hear. He would never send an overcooked steak back to the kitchen, and he patiently awaits an extra hour while the doctor sees other patients. He even gives up his place in the barbershop, lets others take his parking spot, or even crash the line in front of him. He doesn't argue with the boss nor object when a coworker takes credit for work he has done. Don't misunderstand. If you are Joe and your self-image is so healthy you can conduct yourself in this manner because this is what you want, that's super good. If you view these incidents as minor or small stuff that mean nothing in your game plan for life, then your self-image is in excellent shape. However, if you do these things to gain acceptance, then you are gaining everything but acceptance. The reason is simple. You are not presenting the real you. In fact, you are presenting a phony. And most people, including other phonies, don't like a phony. It is safe to say that every area of life and every occupation is affected by a poor self-image. If you fit or think you fit into the group with a poor self-image, let me enthusiastically urge you not to fume or fret, because in the next few pages, we will give you some step-by-step procedures to correct a poor self-image and make a good one better. You are now ready to start stepping up the stairs to success. Happily, you will discover it's easier to move up those stairs faster when you get out of the crowd at the bottom. And friend, if you were ever at the bottom of those stairs, you are now moving up. It's the end of the chapter. All right, so that's 29 minutes. Hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you got a lot from it. I'll come back with another video, reading out loud, different personal development, leadership books that I've taken to help me develop. Hopefully it helps you as well, and I hope this video made an impact for you wherever you are and whenever you're watching this. Have a great rest of your day. Please remember to share the video, like the video. If you want more content just like this, be subscribed so that you can get an update as soon as the next one comes out. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. This is your coach, Quincy Jackson. I'll see you later.